Evening, guys, and welcome to this week's Market Watch. And we're going to be hitting some news points, looking at our technical analysis, and then looking at our few of our major cryptocurrencies, along with some new altcoins that I've been following. And then I will bring you a bonus section where we can look for some FX setups and a stock that I'll be looking at in a couple of weeks. So let's get straight into it, guys. And what I want to look at and bring to your guys' attention, that we might have seen that the markets fell quite a bit yesterday. And if we just go to cryptonews.com and we have a look at this news article that it was on, Bitcoin and crypto drop alongside stocks on China Evergrande spillover risks. And what Chinese, this company in China is called China Evergrande, as mentioned, and it is one of the biggest property developer. And it's been called that what happened yesterday of the Lehman moment back in 2008 when we had that market crash. It wasn't so severe, as we'll look at the market shortly, but it is in more than $300 billion debt, okay, placing the company as the world's most indebted property developer. So that was concerns, and although not at first sight related to Bitcoin, some industry insiders are increasingly concerned about the impact such a large Chinese default could have, and possibly already has, on the crypto news. So I think that a lot of risk came into the market yesterday. We saw a lot of Dow Jones, NASDAQ, a few shares dropping, a lot of the currencies as well, and that was most likely due to that. So Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies as a whole, yes, they are still very, very new, and my personal opinion, it's going to take some time to get people, wanting to be dealing with that product. I do believe that Bitcoin is going to be very regulated. If you think that it's going to be passing, the big banks and countries, I don't think they're going to let that go. And just some also news I want to point out. If we look at PwC, there's this one article. It says that the private sector has responded with the rise of mobile payment platforms, larger companies creating their own digital currencies, and the growth of stablecoins. Example, fiat-pegged digital currencies. So central banks have also started to take notice by developing their own central bank digital currencies, CBDCs, which are digital forms of fiat currencies. So quite important, something to take note of. They're wanting to develop their own cryptocurrencies, and that is a way to keep in control. Just imagine the cryptocurrencies, they will be able to regulate and keep it under a close magnifying glass. So I do believe that is what will be happening in the future. If we think it's not going to be controlled, I don't think they're going to let that happen, and especially if they're wanting to be doing their own digital currency. Another one, if we have a look at the fear and index currently with the crypto market, we can see we're at the fear mark, and that is due to bit on concern that there might be a bit of a drop coming in crypto, more of a push to the downside. We can see last month we had that extreme greed, which was that push up with Bitcoin and the main cryptocurrencies. People are wanting to see it going higher, and now with the turning, we have fear coming back into the market. So just going back to the the ECBs, and this was the ECB Lagarde calls regulating Bitcoin's funny business, and she's saying that that cryptocurrency is just it's she says here is called on Wednesday for global regulation of Bitcoin, saying that digital currency had been used for money laundering activities in some instances, that any loopholes needed to be closed. So she's not in favor of it, and again, they're wanting to be developing their own digital currency. So again, they're wanting to keep control. If we think the banks and countries are going to have a cryptocurrency that's just going to be able to slide under the radar, they're definitely not going to be allowing that, and there's going to be a lot of backlash accordingly. Quite interesting news. just jump into a website called CoinGecko. Very informative. You guys can see the top cryptocurrencies and what it is behind, okay? What percentages dropped, came up, and for instance, if we just look at Ethereum, which is second behind Bitcoin, we can scroll down, and this gives you, first of all, what is Ethereum? So for new people trying to understand the market, trying to get in, what is Ethereum? Okay, it gives you that description. If it also gives you what percentage in the last 30 days, it's dropped, -8%. But over the year, if you've invested in Ethereum, you would be up still 700%, which is quite great to see. So nice structure on the site. We can see they're all still quite down the last 7 days, last 1 hour, all cryptocurrencies coming down. And I think we could be in that fear stage where price will be dropping to the downside. So very interesting. I'll be looking at Bitcoin, Ethereum, and XRP, and possibly adding Cardano in there, which is one of the top 5 on our markets, and just having a look at structure based on that. So let's look at our charts, all of on TradingView. And what I first want to start with is our Bitcoin. Okay, so Bitcoin is one of the biggest. It is the biggest. It's the first. And let's just have a look on the weekly time frame and what we are seeing. Okay, weekly time frame. If we had invested a year ago, okay, you would be up around almost 1,000%. I think it was, yeah, almost 1,000% on your investment. But what we need to do is, if we invested at these lows and price goes up to the bottom, we need not to hold on to it. What happens if it returns all the way back to your entry? Your investment has made that return and come back to zero. So rather take some profits at the high and reinvest it at the low. So quick analysis on BTC, and what I see is, if we're having this continued rejection here at around 52,000, my first tool that I use is a Fibonacci, and this will predict and give me a rough take profit, which could be back down to our 20,000 mark. So that is my outlook for obviously a long time period. I don't think it's going to happen straight away, but if we take that mark and we go back to our first all-time high, which was around here in 2017, we can see that that's where we could have that prediction in price. So anywhere down at these lows, we want to be buying again for the long term. But just looking at our intraday setups for Bitcoin, I still see that we're breaking the structures, okay, on the lows, and we have our intermediate lower high, okay, and then we also have this high here. So structure to me looks like we wanting to be going to the downside. If I had to pull out my Fibonacci on this area, we can see we've hit take profit 1, and we could be coming down to near our 36,000 mark. So for me, short intraday, short term for Bitcoin, still down, coming down to our 36 mark. Let's look at our Ethereum. And Ethereum, same. If we go to the weekly time frame, we've come up to the highs. We've created that double top resistance, okay. And if I look at my RSI and stochastics, we can see they're both high at the top. Whenever we want to be getting into the market to buy, we're wanting to make sure that your RSI and your stochastics are right at the bottom. They both need to be right at the bottom, meeting up. So right now, I wouldn't get in for a long-term buy or investment on this. And what we could be seeing again is price coming to the lows of Ethereum to at least our 2,000 mark. If we come lower, again, great, even better. We can then buy in and look for that push to the upside. On our daily time frame, same as Bitcoin, structure, okay, structure's broken. We've now made the lower high up to the top, and potentially could see price moving in a downward movement to that 2,000 mark. XRP, also one of my favorites, and just touching on it, when you have a look at what is behind these coins, XRP is used by banks, okay? It's a network for purchasing and different technology that is being currently used. So it's a good product. We need to be investing in coins that have a good product, a good asset, and a company that is backed, okay? Being in small of these new coins that aren't really having this favorable backing, we need to be worried and rather get out of those. So always invest in something that has technology that we can see is going to be used or currently being used, or that you're investing in an asset, okay, which I'll be looking at a new token shortly on that. So for me, XRP, same thing, structures to the downside. I would want to see price below this mark, okay, this double bottom, a lot of liquidity at the bottom, and a lot of big investors will be waiting there. So around 0.30, 0.40, I would like to get back in for that. But intraday, we easily going to be coming down to our 0.80. If we do have a pullback, we should be seeing 1.30 and then a decline in price back to our 0.70 mark. So for now, a drop in those prices. So let's look at just another two more, and the other one was Cardano, and you'll be able to see it on the CoinGecko. And Cardano is ADA USD, and on the weekly time frame, okay, so just a quick brief look at structure. Whenever we are in an uptrend, price will be making these structures, and we want to be buying at these pullbacks. We want to be buying at these pullbacks, and if we look at the structure here, price is pushed to the top. We want to wait for price to come as low as possible into these areas before we can look at purchasing and running price higher. If we break these areas, we have our trend line. We have our trend line that is sitting here. If we break these, we could be seeing lows of around 0.50 again, which is good. Again, long-term investment, you want to be buying low and rather taking some profit or money out the market when you are high. So Cardano, one to watch. So just going on to this new coin that I want to bring out, and that is called the Eyeless coin, and it is a great idea, okay, and it is developed and brought about by Nicholas Link, who is the CEO. And if we drop onto the webpage eyelesscoin.com, what we'll see is, if we look at what is Eyeless coin, which is great, it is a token that's brought by a strategic alliance between a public company, Eyeless International, and Toto Capital, who is an innovative boutique finance company operating out of Hong Kong, Panama, and Dubai. What is the function? This is what I mean: investing in something that is an asset, something that is doing good and has the technology for the future. So by purchasing a coin, you are providing and you are investing and buying assets, okay, which will be help for critical life and earth-saving technology and equipment, okay, to people and places that really need it and can't afford it. So it's a great initiative. You're giving back, you're investing your money in something safe, and we're only going to see this coin go through the roof. So let's just jump onto the charts, and where I generally have been seeing this is at KuCoin.app. And if we have a look at the charts currently, a few indicators that I do like to use are the moving averages, and we can put a moving average on there of a 50. Okay, generally 50 is your 50 average moving days, and we can see we are roughly below it. Okay, so what we haven't really moved that much in price. We've been, last week we were around 0.25, and what I'm noticing is that we are going sideways. Okay, we are just in a sideways market, and there's no real movement. But what we want to watch for is if we break our 0.21 level, 0.22 level, then we are going to be going lower. So we just need to watch what happens. Ideally, what I wanted to do is break out of this range, okay, break out of the range and come back and retest our 50 EMA, which will then be at the bottom. Okay, our 50 EMA will be at the bottom, and then hopefully we can, from here, we can see price start to rise on the coin back up to our 0.50 mark. So just a quick outlook, not real movements currently on the coin price, but we are low, and I think this is really set to do good and give back in a good way. So just jumping onto our bonus section, having a look at our Forex, whoever's in Forex, we want to understand first of all, what is the dollar doing? And we are in a ranging market. Okay, we are in a bearish trend on the weekly time frame, so we're generally wanting to see the dollar drop. I believe that we could be seeing that. Euro USD is what I'll be watching. Okay, we have a good area on our daily time frame, and what we have come into now, we have come back to our level of support. Okay, back to our level of support of around 1.7, and I would want to buy in at these levels and run price up above these equal highs to our 1.20500 level. So a swing trade I'm looking at Forex, Euro USD is the pair, and this looks like a good setup right now. So that's for a FX pair. Keep an eye on that. We have a lot of USD news coming tomorrow evening, FOMC, and that should definitely swing the dollar and give us a good setup for Euro USD. One other pair, what I want to look at for a setup is our NASDAQ, the top 100 tech companies in America. And where we are sitting, I think we could have a nice bit of a recovery. Okay, we can see this was the drop yesterday on that news. And on the 1 hour time frame, I'm wanting price to come back. We see we've had the rejection there. I want the price to fall into our level of around 14,900. If we can get pushback in there, a bit of rejection, start seeing a pushback up, and then a move up to our 15,300 and possibly even higher, 15,450. So that's my setup for NASDAQ to come. Possibly this evening I will be looking for a buy on that. So one other bonus, guys, that I'm looking at is a stock, and a lot of you might not know, and it is called Naspers, or might not heard of it. And what Naspers is a limited company based out of South Africa, and it is a global internet group and one of the largest technology investors in the world. Has done phenomenally on in the markets, and where we are sitting now, we had a very, very good place to buy. We had a very, very good place to buy, and I can see we're starting to have a little bit of movement. But if we just look at a longer perspective, all the way back in February 2014, okay, we can see this is our long trend line, and we are coming all the way at the lows. So I want to be ready to get in around about this level, even lower. 22.0 could be a good zone, and then hold for a good long term, possibly even a year or two on this trade. And even if we take it back up to the highs, we're looking at around an 80% return on that investment if we push to the highs. So guys, that is what I'm looking at. We will be back next week, and I look forward to getting comments regarding our market watch, and trade safe, and we'll catch you next week.